Hey y'all, I'm Brooke Hoover, a Louisiana native, actor, writer, and comedian. I've lost 100 pounds through diet and exercise, or shall I say, lifestyle changes. My 20-year and counting health journey has taught me that just like taking a diet pill for weight loss, body positivity doesn't magically happen overnight. I'm working on regaining my self-esteem and rekindling my love affair with Cajun and Southern comfort food in a healthier way, all the while juggling eating as clean as I can, reestablishing myself in the entertainment industry, which, as we know, is historically fat-phobic, all the while showing my inner fat girl some love. That's fat with a PH. Pretty hot and tempting. Let me tell y'all a tale or two. MENSWEAR Don't Care is the name of this week's episode, y'all. I know that those of us female-identifying friends have had menswear as part of our fashion trend on and off at various times and periods throughout the ages. Like, for instance, after World War II, a lot of females had to take on jobs that were primarily male-dominated, so that influenced the fashion situation, and fashion made necessity fabulous, Then Marilyn Monroe started the whole boyfriend jean trend in the 60s, but I more so remember it all over the Gap, like maybe about, 5-6 years ago or so? But in my case, menswear began when I hit puberty and started gaining weight and getting boobs. And while most gills go into their moms' and sisters' closets to shop and borrow, I went into the closet of none other than Hoover Bob, my dad. And for me, it wasn't to follow a fashion trend and it wasn't a fashion choice. It was because I didn't really have much of a choice. See, y'all, at the time, no one was really making plus size clothes. At least they weren't making them accessible and fashionable and cute and mainstream for like a chubby 13, 14-year-old in the 90s. And they definitely were not making it acceptable like they are today. Like we're still trying today, because I still think we have a long way to go with the conversation of fat phobia. But it was like back in the 90s, enter through the back door of fashion if you're more than a size 12. And some places had extended sizes, but they weren't really doing anything to help a plus size person, especially someone in a female plus size body, because men always had the big and tall, and that was fine. Other than saying to us gills, well, just lose weight in order to fit into our clothes. Like, that's what you got to do. Don't be plus size. Just lose the weight, and then fashion will work for you. Fart noise. We haven't had a fart noise in a long time. So believe me, y'all, when I was younger, I really wanted to have the body shape and metabolism and the lack of a period and the lack of boobs like many young female athletes. And while it might sound like I'm being facetious or making fun, I'm not. Without realizing all the while that wasn't necessarily a healthy choice either. It wasn't a healthy choice for me to want to be that way. And the fact that, young female athletes can stop maturing in certain ways, that isn't necessarily healthy either. And I will sing this until the cows come home, pun not intended, that just because someone is overweight or heavyset doesn't automatically mean they're unhealthy. And just because someone is skinny or has this body that I thought I wanted when I was younger, like an athletic female, it does not mean that they are instantly healthy or balanced. Balance is the key word here, y'all. So speaking of balance, I need to read that memoir by Dominique Moceanu. Remember the famous gymnast? I wanted my body and myself to be so much like her growing up. And genetics alone wouldn't make that happen. And the fact that I quit gymnastics after 2 years, I was so ashamed to not just be a chubby child, but to be getting boobs and curves on top of it. So on top of the chub, I had additional chub in certain womanly areas. Ugh. I went from being the sweet young gill sporting the cute, remember the brands of Gaetano or Spumoni, like those little sets back in the late 80s, to then needing to cover it all up, wanting to cover it all up in the early 90s, almost snap my fingers overnight. But y'all, I'm not feeling sorry for myself because luckily my dad has style. And I'm not talking about, oh, I have my dad's favorite t-shirt that I slept in as a kid. This was well beyond that. I went all into his wardrobe, and his wardrobe was pretty fabulous for a straight white man. He was preppy and southern and like Hoover Bob fabulous. So fabulous, in fact, that one of my favorite shirts that he owned was a pink, kind of like an orange tinted pink, not the Who's That Fat Girl neon bikini pink. That's the name of the color I use on Canva. But the brand was called Rough Hewn, and it was like a waffled, extra thick shirt with a collar. I dare not pop the collar, though. I wasn't that fashionable. And I would wear a white t-shirt underneath so you could see the white t-shirt kind of peeking out just underneath the collar. And boom, I didn't even have to wear a bra because the shirt was so thick and bigger on me. And yet I felt somewhat feminine because I was wearing a feminine color. Now, I say this facetiously because I do think the way in which gender rules are very antiquated and fart noise. Also, y'all, I wore my dad's Patagonia swimming trunks over my swimsuits to help with my shabbies, which, if you don't speak Brooke Hoover language, shabbies is a technical term to describe the upper thigh area, the chub rub that I experienced. But bless my family for primarily going on vacation to the mountains of North Carolina instead of somewhere more chic like Miami Beach or somewhere, because wearing the Patagonia swimming trunks in the Smoky Mountains were not just fully acceptable, but like totes necessary for whitewater rafting, sliding down rocks, and wrestling bobcats. And the Patagonia swim trunks did have a weird lining. Sorry, microphone, I just hit the microphone. The Patagonias did have a weird lining in them, which I always was curious about. And I've since learned that lining is there because that's what holds up all the male bits. So every time I put on a pair of my dad's Patagonias on top of my swimsuit to hide my shabbies, I tried to not think about this aspect of the lining. And y'all, luckily, and not luckily, because I hated school uniforms, but also they were kind of a good answer and a godsend at times. Our school uniforms were kind of just based in a white collared shirt, which easily was findable in my dad's closet. I would just go upstairs actually into his closet and look through the white button downs that he had. And I could allow for a nice blue psalm, as my mama and I call it. Mama and I call it blue psalm, baby, blue psalm, that shirt. So you basically tuck in the white collared shirt into your shorts or skirt, as the uniform called for, and you add like a nice kind of blousey, puffy, almost like parachute-like effect. And I appreciated this because it allowed me to hide my boobs, second boobs, and fat and shame. Winning. Why do I say winning? Like the Charlie Sheen thing is like so 10 years old. Oy. Speaking of menswear. But to this day, when I go back home to Louisiana, I still pack less clothes. If I could have done my vocal warm-up today, I pack less clothes when I visit my dad, Hoover Bob, because I know when I exercise or just fart around the house with his dog Latte, that I can wear one of his t-shirts and Patagonias. And y'all, in fact, when I was down there a few years ago helping my dad when he lost one of his toes, my aunt and uncle a few times gently tried to coax me out of that menswear. I guess it's kind of embarrassing and unsightly for me to be seen dressed braless in a man's t-shirt and my dad's swim trunks walking around the Baton Rouge Arboretum with Latte. But y'all, this outfit's become almost like a battle shield and a constant comfort for me. It evolved from necessity, and I've made it a choice at times. Like, I am choosing to wear this outfit today and to not try to be cute or to not try to like be like in menswear to be cute, but to pretend like I don't really give a damn cute. No, I just want to be comfortable, you know? My menswear could be more of a fashion statement. It could be more of a fashion statement. I could, quote unquote, look better or wear something, quote unquote, more flattering to make other people feel more comfortable, quote unquote. But even when I've bought some of those, you know, the boyfriend jean at Gap and tried to go more on trend, the cut of it didn't work for my body shape. At this point, I have like an hourglass body shape. I'm still trying to get comfortable with having hips and boobs. Again, I still want to be straight and narrow and like a size 0. And I'm always working on accepting who I am for what I am and my size at this moment, hence this podcast. But it really seems that this menswear trend is really, really super geared for super skinny female identifying folk because, y'all, the boyfriend jean, the boyfriend shirt, the boyfriend t-shirt all just make me look and feel a bit awkward. I mean, and also I never fit into my real boyfriend's clothing because my boyfriends have always been more slender than me. You know, I'm like, let me do like the dad jean or the dad shirt or the dad joke. Hoover Bob's got some good ones because I'll take Hoover Bob's Patagonias with that mesh lining any day over this quote unquote boyfriend geared trend because it feels and looks a little bogus and clown like on me. I think what didn't work for me when I was in a larger body than I am now with the whole clothing system for female identifying folks is that for men, okay, for example, your pants and your shirt and your coat size are based on your actual like size or measurement for that item. And it seems that between designer or between brand, there isn't so much variation as there is for female identifying clothing. So for us girls, there's a size chart, right? But that varies by designer. And when you're ordering junk on Amazon, you better follow that size chart to a T because if you're ordering stuff from overseas, it's gonna fit weird unless you follow that size chart like a psychotic person. So it's basically this system dictating, right? That if you're like a size 10, like I'm a size 10 in some clothes I'm a size 8, in some clothes I'm a size 12. And again, if I'm buying stuff from, sorry to say, but on Amazon from China, I'm a size double XL. Or bridal stuff, you're always going to up size. It's utterly insane, So basically it's saying if you're a size 10, you're expected to have like 36C boobs, 30-inch waist, give or take, and like a 38-inch hip. All right. And we know that female bodies are much like fruit, like pear, apples, the shapes that they describe us as. We all come in all shapes and sizes. So the sizing guidelines that are dictated change by brand, change by designer, even in plus sizes, y'all, even in plus size clothing. And for me, it's nothing's ever really fit according to those guidelines because my top half is bigger than my bottom half. I guess I'm a triangle shape. What food would that be? I guess I'm a upside down pineapple chunk wedge shape. I'm a watermelon wedge shape, if you will. Why are we comparing women's bodies to fruits? We don't do that with men, do we? So y'all remember that 36, 24, 36? Only if she's 5'3". Dun, 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 dun. Y'all know the song I'm talking about? Yes, of course. Sir Mix-a-Lot. I like big butts. That song came out around the time that I was going through my weight change woes initially, and I was getting heavier set and getting boobs and hips. And Sir Mix-a-Lot is basically saying that, that measurement combo is really ridiculous. And yeah, that's really going to happen in real life, yeah. And while my family and I, we don't have big butts, we don't tend to carry our weight in our butts, I took this as my body positive anthem for the 1990s while I was hiding my chub rub in my dad's swim trunks. Y'all, I think my whole long-winded, passionate point is fashion is antiquated. It still is. Even in our day and age, I'm sick of labeling clothes as men's or women's. And that if you're a woman, if you're a female identifying and you're choosing to wear men's clothing, then you're different, or you better make it cute and fashionable. Like they're these weird rules that society has. This episode has had a lot of fart noises. I say, wear what makes you feel good. If you are in a female body and you're a more curvier female body, like me, who can't pull off the menswear trend, which mind you, you're wearing men's-esque clothing. You're still expected to have the cut that shows off your figure, but that figure had better be slim. God forbid curves still offend people. Remember when Shakira and J-Lo performed at the Super Bowl and people got offended? Oh my God. I say, y'all, who cares about these trends? Who cares about the trends? Wear what feels right for you. Oftentimes, y'all, in the past couple years, what's felt right for me has been leggings. I mean, thank God for leggings. And again, Patagonia shorts and my dad's t-shirts. I will be sharing on the website brookehoover.com/podcast in the transcription area by this episode number 41, a link that has some genderless brands. All right. So not men's or women's, but genderless brands. And I wish that would have existed for me back in the day. And I think that's the wave of the future. And growing up and growing into a body I didn't yet want to have, I probably would have felt much more comfortable having one of these brands to reach out to. And I probably wouldn't have so much heart palpitation and feeling, or dare I say even a podcast episode about this, had I had one of these brands that I could count on. Well, y'all, as always, thank you for listening. Now go dig in your dad's closet and you'll find some excellent wardrobe. If you dig in mine, clearly you will see a lot of bras and scarves. Thanks so much for listening, y'all. It is my hope to inspire, uplift, and entertain you with this Who's Dat Fat Girl podcast. So, if you're hungry for more, you can book me to speak or perform my solo show that inspired this podcast, Fat Girl Costumes, written by yours truly and directed by Brian Lady at your virtual or in-person event. Please visit brookehoover.com/fluffybuttproductions or email me at contactbrookhoover@gmail.com for more info. And let's follow each other on Instagram. I'm at Brooke Hoover, and the O's in my name are not the letter O, they're zeros. Not because I want to be a size 0, but because I guess I'm just so clever with my late 90s Yahoo self. And if you like this podcast, which I really hope you do, please give me a 5-star rating and write a review on Apple Podcasts. And most importantly, share this with your friends, family, and other people you may know who are as fat as we are. That's fat with a PH.